Welcome to Freedom's Voice. This is October 28th. I'm Chris Hager. I'm your host. Freedom's Voice is my podcast on current events and based upon what I call a biblical worldview. The Bible is literal, it is grammatical, and it is historical. And that impacts the way the world is seen from my eyes and from those who deny those three elements of biblical truth. But today I want to talk about New York City, Mandami, and the reaction of the press more than anything else to what he might mean to New York. And I want to take it from this point of view. The government people, the bureaucratic state, started bigger and bolder in 1992 with Bill Clinton. It's been around for a number of years. But the movement is simply this. Government should have control over every aspect of life. When we say we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, among these life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Liberty. When there were real kings and real despots, all ownership and right to produce was granted from whoever was on top of the government. There was no real concept of personal liberty, personal ownership, until we came to the United States, before the North American continent, let's say that way. And liberty included and was required to have personal control over your property. If you had a home, it was yours, and you did with it as you saw fit. That part of the creative process underlines everything in capitalism. Property, ownership, and control. For the Democratic Party and probably half the Republican Party, they see government as simply giving permission to citizens to hold on to property for a period of time, to hold on to a job for a period of time. There's a real good trick to identifying people that hold that view. Ask a member of any government organization, bureaucratic organization, can government make an investment? I hear it all the time. You do. Oh, we need to invest in schools. You need to invest in infrastructure. If your acquisition of capital is by confiscatory authority, taxes, there is no such thing as an investment to be made. You can spend it, and occasionally there will be a beneficial result, but more often than not, it's all graft, greed, and corruption. Government cannot invest anything because the notion of investment is you grow a crop on your own ground, you have enough bounty that there is some left over, and you can do something with that. Sell it, save it, plant it, grow more ground. That is investment. It comes from an abundant supply of your harvest. If you have a business, you make widgets and you sell them and you keep a profit, that profit may be invested. But if government takes it, they aren't investing anything. They're confiscatorily taking your asset and making a different decision. If you ask anybody in government, oh, Senator, can you invest in your... If he says it, trust me, there is no part of him that will ever believe in liberty for a person. Here's what I mean going forward. Regardless of how the election in New York City turns out, there is no part of the Democratic machine that wants anything other than governmental control over every aspect possible of our lives. They want education controlled. They want production controlled. Mandami already says he wants to freeze rents. Well, excuse me, if I own a property, how are you going to freeze my liberty in order to accomplish your desire? And where did the desire to lower costs come from? Oh, think of the taxes, the obligations. Look at Pacific Heights in California. There aren't any houses being built yet. They can't get building permits done. Why? Layer upon layer upon layer of government regulation. It is insane. New York City with Mandami, there won't be any policy provision that can improve life because they don't believe in any policy to improve life. They want to increase government authority. There aren't opposing forces in the Democratic Party to make Mandami, to overcome Mandami. There hasn't been a proposal or a policy out of the Democratic Party since '92 that didn't grow government. They don't care about individual rights. They care about more power. How do you get to 18 million employees or whatever the stupid number is in the federal government? You do it by graft, payoff, greed. And Republican states are not far away. I've said Florida has 67 counties. Of the 67 Republican county organizations, 37 of them are rhinos. They do not believe in liberty, because with liberty comes responsibility. And the Democratic Party, I don't even know what to call them, the leftists of the world, they don't want responsibility. They want authority. They want to grant permission to you. They do not want to give guidance. In my humble little neighborhood, we have a homeowners association. And we'll see if the homeowners association appoints me to the board. My statement will be very simple. An HOA should be there to give guidance, not permission. It is private property. We are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, among these life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. When you start thinking you can grant permission rather than guidance, it all crumbles. The healthcare issue, the Affordable Care Act, they're going to be, I heard somebody complaining about rate increases in the Affordable Care. It's going to be over 18, 19, 20%. Why? Because it's a corrupt organization. You cannot have medical care delivered by prepaid medical procedure calculations. Nor can you have healthy people if you sell the idea that someone in government is going to take care of your health. We are individually responsible for our health. Doesn't mean you can't insure against financial issues regarding obtaining health care. But insurance is not prepaid coverage. Attorneys over the last 40 years have tried to sell a plan prepaid legal services. They never work. You can insure against a car wreck because by and large, people don't want car wrecks. But there is a huge fraud market. Organized crime has been pulling those scams for, well, more than 70 years. If you insure against unknown loss, you can have reasonable financial transactions. But when you try to prepay for neglectful experience in your own life, all you got to do is walk the streets of big box stores and you see people grossly overweight. And I'm a little overweight. I get it. Because I don't always eat right. But if you start to try and get 100 people to pay for my poor eating habits, everybody loses, not just me. Finally, just think about where we'll go with the press should Mandami win. There is no way CBS, NBC, ABC is going to tell you the truth about the policy failures of the Democratic Party. And they are massive. You still can't get the truth. For those who aren't old enough, Hillary Clinton was put in charge by President Bill Clinton, la-di-da, for a single-payer health plan they thought they could get. And it included a requirement that if you went to see your primary care physician, he could ask you, do you have a weapon in the house? That kind of derailed the whole plan because it was revealing of an attempt to control the population. They want to manipulate what we have as freedoms. And they'll use any method possible. Rent controls, union, it doesn't matter. Nowhere does any part of the Democratic Party, the left, and half the Republicans in the world care about liberty. They care about authority and power. We are in dangerous times, not because of Trump, not because of freedom, but because of tyranny. And the tyranny is the refusal to understand our rights come from God, not government. And the Bernie Sanders of the world want to live outside the reach of the government because it's who they are. They want to be the government. How does a Bernie Sanders become a multimillionaire while working as a congressman or a senator? Because of corruption. How does Joe Biden survive for 45 or 50 years? Because he was a useful idiot. There are two words, stupid and ignorant. And most people don't know the difference in what they mean. Stupid. There are stupid people. However you want to describe it, perhaps it's a lack of mental acuity. There's not much you can do to correct stupid. But ignorance is a choice. Ignorance is taking an active position when you're not in possession of sufficient facts. If you want to read, if you want to study, all ignorance can be resolved. But if you want to just destroy things, pretend you're stupid, you don't study, you don't look at the facts. Oprah Winfrey famously said, "We all have our truths." No, we don't. There is one source of truth. It is the Bible. It is literal, it is grammatical, it is historical. It has been proven so for more than 2,000 years. The Hebrew Bible for 4,000 years. There is truth. There are two sexes. Marriage is between a man and a woman with the plausibility of procreation. Those are just truths. You don't have your own truth. There is God's truth. And a Creator endowed us with freedom. Thanks very much. PatriotCareHealth.us is part of my life work. Patriot Care Health. If you're a military veteran, 1099, small business, Patriot Care was created with the veteran in mind. It is how affordable health care is being made available across the country. Not 50 states, but 38. PatriotCareHealth.us. Take a look. There is brilliance in its design. Healthcare that's affordable, available, and accessible. Thank you. God bless.